Trista is awesome, and we are here and we are live and we are ready to rock and roll. Trista Robinson is an amazing actress, and we're just talking a little bit why I'm crazy, and here's why I'm crazy. So about 10 years ago, 15 years, about 13 years ago, I kind of had my own face-to-face encounter with like the shadow of death. And about 6 years ago, I had a very unique kind of weird sickness that no one usually ever gets. And basically I had that ability to, like, where you're not in control of your body's just doing what damn well pleases and there's nothing you can do about it. I've experienced both extremes of that. So I know like one day I'm going to die. And I also know what it's like how fragile it is, your life can really be. Now, some people that makes them more scared of the world. Me, it made me the opposite. I'm not going to say fearless exactly, but I don't worry the same way because it just doesn't like, I just accepted a long time ago that one day I'm going to die. That's a given. I'm not meant to walk away from this. I also know that it's probably going to be painful. I mean, let's be like, yeah, right. I mean, I know that sounds really morbid, but you see it at the end of the life of people. They get to a point that everything wears down, things break down, and that's life, right? So, but if you can accept that, which I kind of made my peace with that a long time ago, not much scares you because it's like, okay, like this, right? I'm not saying you rush headlong into it, right? But it doesn't hit the same way.
You
right?
have acceptance.
Yeah, there's an acceptance to it. So that as a result, I don't like. I can't say I'm scared. Like I just can't. Like it just doesn't hit me that way. It hits me like
that's good.
Yeah, yeah. But a lot of people don't get that, right? Because it's like it's not something. Most people don't go through that at a very young age. I got that, although it was at a really scary point in my life, right? It's been kind of a gift. It lets me. It basically made me recognize very early on that life's short, so you got to embrace every possibility there is. As such, I don't have the same like, oh my God, bad things might happen. It's like, okay, I mean, but let's still try to get whatever good we can out of these moments in time. Like that's my whole thing. So for a guy like me, like literally, the world could literally be on fire tomorrow. It literally could. I'm not saying I want it to be on fire, but like I literally could. And I'd still be like, okay, well, the world's on fire. Nothing I can really do about it. Let's try to get on with the day. And I might sound like completely nuts, but I've learned to accept what I can't control. And there are lots of things bigger than me. And I've accepted that a long, long, long time ago. And once you kind of accept it, you're almost like this like a sponge or like this like floating dead man. It just kind of just can go with the current wherever it goes. Oh, we're wearing masks today. Okay. Oh, we're doing this today. Okay. And oh, we're doing this today. There's because it's bigger than me, and I can accept the fact that it's bigger than me, right? Whether I agree or not is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's bigger than me. So does that make sense? Does that register?
Yeah, I think you're lucky because a lot of people have like crippling fears and anxieties and the media, mass media really
they create that. Like they like that's
that a lot. Yeah.
That I don't want to bash the media too much, but in my humble opinion, mass media in both my country and yours, if we put it into a little bottle and seal it away, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have freedom of the press, but the way we do press today isn't really journalism. It's a show. And I don't know about you. Like, if I want to watch a show, I'm going to watch one of your movies or somebody else's stuff because you're trying to be a show. You're not trying to pretend to be anything else. But when you're claiming to inform people and you're creating an element of fear and terror in people, adding to it is already a tough situation. And you're profiting off it. Like, that's the thing, right? You're profiting off it. I don't think much of you. I just don't. And that's kind of been how I've approached this whole experience. I don't see it. So like I said, so I pretty much ignore the media. I just do my own reading. I just come to my own conclusions there, right? Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But you know what? Considering years later, I mean, I've had years of experts saying this is how it should be, and then 5, 10 years later, oh, we were wrong the whole time. Oops. So I mean, you're taking chances no matter what you do, and that's kind of, so. Like I said, I don't. Yeah, I just, that crippling fear part, I just don't want to be crippled by it. I mean, fear is healthy. A little fear, it's a healthy thing. A good, like, but a little bit. But to the point where you don't do anything, that's terrible, right? That's a terrible thing. And anything that's causing that, right? If it's beyond your control, I mean, get help. But if it's something like you're watching TV and the TV is making you more scared to go outside, turn the fucking TV off. It isn't worth. You're nodding, Elias. Does what I say make sense to you, or am I? Or
yeah, I mean, I don't watch the news. I don't really watch TV. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me for sure. And I think a lot of the media has such an angle, and Trump was sort of the culmination of this country's like issue with like the media and the way people manipulate it and that sort of thing.
Oh, he was good at it. Like that. Yeah. That's one. Like, he was really good at it. Yeah.
It's scary stuff. I think
it is. That is scary stuff. I mean, we're not gonna, like, the thing is, it scared me. Like, should legitimately scare me. When this pandemic's over, it's probably still going to scare me, because we don't, as a culture, North America as a culture, I think there's two things I realized in this time. Number one, I don't think we know how to treat heroes. And I realized that just thinking about, like, in 9/11, policemen were heroes. In 2020, we're not heroes anymore, right? I look at how we treat soldiers, how we treat people we consider heroic, and we tend to give them that minute of, here's that magic button and you're awesome. But we don't do enough to help them when they really need it. And I realize, like, the last thing you kind of want to be described in this country, at least in the long term, is a hero, because they won't treat you good. Like, and I look at how essential workers are being, like, considered heroic right now, and that's great, I guess. But I just think about all the other heroes that have come before, and I'm like, I don't know if I want that label.
Well, it is very unfortunate the way veterans are treated. Mm-hmm. I do think that it's really sad. We have the VA, of course, but a lot of those people, their needs aren't met, and there's a lot of homeless veterans, and it's really, really sad.
Yeah, and the other thing I kind of realized is I think our parents did a poor job in teaching us how to confront our problems directly. I think that's something I realized is, I look at, like, to me, right, everything that's kind of what's happening now has happened before, just in like a smaller scale, but it's happened before, and it seems like we make the same mistakes over and over and over again, and that usually when I make the same mistake over and over and over again, I think I'm ducking an issue. Like, there's a problem I have that I'm not solving, so life goes back in this, like, magical circle. It's like, hey, we got this problem here you got to deal with, and then then you ignore it. It goes all the way around. It's a bigger problem, and then it's a bigger problem, and then it's a bigger problem. And I kind of think, like, as a culture, that's where we're at. We have these issues that we need to deal with, and we don't know how, and so we just keep circling them over and over and over again.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. A lot of our problems are not new, unfortunately.
No. Yeah, I'm not going to depress you for too much longer, because this stuff.
No, it's okay. It's important.
This stuff does suck. But I mean, like, those are the biggest two lessons I've learned in this time. Is A lot of people say they're blind to science. I would say we're blinder to history. We tend to repeat our mistakes over and over and over again. And I think, the last thing I think I'd want to be called in this country is a hero, because I don't know if our countries really know how to deal with it. One thing I think, like, if we talk about quote unquote essential working, like pay raises, wage increases would be a lot more rewarding for people, so they could actually live a better life than patting them on the back and saying good job. I don't go to work to get pat on the back saying good job. I go to work either to do my job and be compensated for it in some form or fashion, so.
Of course, I very much agree with that. Yeah, and it's hard to. I worry that I think we don't always really learn accurate history in school. Also, I think they teach us sort of revised history sometimes. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna shift gears just slightly. I think I first off, you're awesome. I kind of want to talk about some of the things you're doing, but also I want to talk about one other thing though too, because you're into horror, right? And you do horror stuff, and you do a really good job at doing horror stuff. But after going like through a literal apocalypse, does it have the same appeal anymore, or is it more appealing, less appealing? Did it make you change what kind of stuff you want to do, or did you fall in love with it more?
I fell in love with it more, yeah. I mean, I definitely came out of quarantine ready to get weird and ready to, like, murder people.
Oh my God, you're awesome. Like, you're awesome.
Thanks.
I just want to kill people. That should be like in your actor bio. She kills people on screen. Right. Right. But Doris Jones says, I want to make a word only in a different way. It's like, yeah, I think we're all kind of just ready to let kind of stuff out. So what's it like? You're in Vegas, right?
No, actually, I'm in LA most of the time. Right now, I'm sort of near Palm Springs.
Okay. No. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's California
so not
like?
too far from Vegas, but I'm not based out of Vegas.
So yeah, because like it must be weird because like the States is practically open in most places now, isn't it? Right. Yeah. Like you're going to be doing some precautionary stuff for the rest of the year, but by and large, like people are just starting to live like normal again in the United States at this point. So California is like the last state, isn't it? Like kind of like we're slowly opening up, or is it like has it started?
I think everything's pretty much open. Most people I know are vaccinated but still wear masks. I think most people feel weird taking their masks off. It's become such a cultural norm at this point.
Give it about a year, I think that will change slightly. I think like I lived in Vancouver, so there was like even before the pandemic, there were people that weren't wearing a mask. It wasn't like it was a very small percentage of the population because a lot of those, like in Vancouver, we had people from other parts of the world that had been through pandemics. So some people take the mask off, like immediately. Like I'll be one of those people. Mask, to be honest. I wore masks for my day job. I hate them. I just hate them so much. It's just like for me, it's just like I can't wait. Other people, though, it's like, yeah, I mean, I've worn this. I want to kind of cautiously come out. But as time goes on and more people are doing it, I think more and more people. There'll always be a percentage of people in masks, I think, at this point. But it won't be. It will not be a. It will not be a majority, but it will be visible. It'll be like everything else. Like some people are in the masks. It'll be like how some people are into tattoos or earrings or nose rings or leashes or whatever the heck it is that you're into. That'll just be a thing, and I think that's kind of where I think that's going to eventually end up. So. She nods. I think so. I guess that's an agreement.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think some of the things we've adapted will kind of stay. I think there'll be more stuff like this, will be sort of more virtual. There's still a lot of business over Zoom, business from home. Uh, yeah, I think life is definitely just going to be different.
Mhm.
Um, and the way we consume media, like the production values are different now. Like
Yeah.
we've got used to that. But I do think hopefully people will feel more comfortable and more safe.
That's fair. That's fair. So you just want to get back out and murder people, huh? So have you started doing horror films since you came back?
I have, yeah. I have been doing a couple. Yeah.
Yeah. So nothing you can talk about?
What can I talk about? I can talk about yeah, that's a good question. I have a couple things I can't talk about.
Yeah, no. This is why we're doing this right here, right now. It's like, so what can you talk about? Because if you can't, because I don't want to get you in trouble. You're also probably tougher than me. You might just I do hope one day I am fortunate enough to meet you face to face. I don't want the first time I meet you to be a hideous beating from you to me because I said I got you to say something you shouldn't have. You're like,
Oh no, no, that would be my fault anyway. But I would love that as well.
yeah.
Um, so I did a movie. I did a movie called Terror Tunes, and it's a series. So it's Terror Tunes 4, which was really exciting and really fun. And there should be a trailer soon for that. Um, and that has all kinds of like giant puppets and stuff, and it was a really wild experience. I'd never done anything like that before.
So what's so what's
Um,
that, so what's that like working with a puppet? Like how big are we talking?
Pretty big. It's interesting to see how all of the special effects come about and how they go about and what an art puppeteering is too. So
Mhm.
the creation of the effects are so incredible, and then like there's a real art to the people that are bringing them to life as well. So I'm just fascinated by all of that, and I'd never acted opposite anything like that, and so I didn't know how that would be. And of course it complicates a lot of things. There's more hands on deck. I have to kind of be aware of not only my blocking, but they can't really always see. So I'm assisting with that kind of blocking as well. And then like how you interact and emote to not a human face. It was just fascinating experience, and I really loved it.
Did you humanize the puppet?
No,
Like
I didn't.
no.
I kind of used my love of animals
Okay, that's fair.
to
That's fair.
access. Yeah.
That's fair.
That's a good question. I didn't know how I would do it because I could have gone that route, but I think because I'm so tender with my animals, it was easy
So,
to.
so by animals, like, is there like you have like a family at home you support?
Yeah, my kitty cat. I just I kind of used my kitty
Oh,
cat
oh,
sometimes.
oh, oh.
But yeah, and I also have a movie called Queen of the Dead, which is about 45 minutes, and it's an experimental film, and that's going all over the world to film festivals right now. But it's also available on YouTube if anyone wants to watch it. I'm very proud
Yeah.
of that as well.
So what'd you do there? So
Um,
were you a zombie in the apocalypse?
I'm the Queen of the Dead.
Nice.
And it's sort of like German expressionistic. It's a black and white film. The writer director is a friend of mine. Yeah, it's really unique. I think you might like it. Actually, you should
Yeah,
check.
you know what? When we get to the plugging of stuff at the end of the interview, you give me the link. I'll put it in there so people can go watch it, and then I'll watch and I'll tell you what I think of it.
Oh, thank you. I would love.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be cool. Actually, I want to go back to like wait. So you have a cat. What's the way you say it? So how long has the cat trained you for? How long have you had the cat for?
Oh, well, I have a couple cats, but my one cat specifically reminded me of this character a little bit. But yeah, so I have a couple cats and they're all rescues. So I'm not sure how old they are, but they're seniors. So I have like a little like a kitty hospice situation. Not hostage, hospice. Um
You don't take a cat hostage. They take you.
Yeah, they're napping right here. That's why I'm looking over.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're my little guys. I want to get a big farm and a lot of rescue animals. That's kind of the plan.
Oh,
So
you're gonna have like a little clinic out in like in the middle of nowhere where you can just go help animals kind of get back to health and give them homes. Is that kind of what you want to do?
yeah, it's a little challenging for me because I wanted to be a vet before I was an actor, and I'm not really made of like the tough stuff required to do the harder stuff. I get really upset when they're sick. So I don't know how much I'll be able to uh, mend them. I don't know how useful I'll be. Um, but I'd like to at least have like a home where I could take them.
Ah, well, if you, I mean, love and attention goes a long way, no matter how badly hurt you are. I mean, it's the truth, right? So, I
Yeah,
mean,
they sure love attention, these
they,
guys.
they can absolutely, right? Depending on the cat and the situation. But I mean, it sounds like that. So I mean, you obviously enjoy acting as well. So so which one's your bigger love? Is it acting or is it the animals?
Well, I don't know. That's a great question. I think that's kind of why I blend the two, you know? Like I said, I kind of used it's not the first time I've used like my love for animals when I need to access emotional roles. And then also, obviously, my acting work feeds them. So, so I think I'll just maybe see if I can keep complementing the two.
Ooh, but there's nothing wrong with that. You've been like I said, you've been playing more and more into lead roles especially in the genres you're in. Are you more comfortable with that? Are you getting more and more comfortable being the lead in a role now? Is it getting easier or is it harder? Or like what's it like for you at this point?
I wouldn't say easier. I would say it's always I like to choose challenging roles, but it's it's great. I'm always so honored when someone trusts me uh to elevate their project. And it's rewarding to do challenging things, so it always feels good, like I've accomplished something if I'm after I tackle it. The other thing is, I don't mind a day player role. Like I'm happy to act, so it's never it wouldn't bother me to do a day player role. But the way that I work is I really like an arc. I really like to construct an arc, and often just the lead roles, just because there's more time, they a lot of time have more fleshed out arcs
Yeah.
um, than maybe a day or two, you know. So I like that because I can really, I feel like, dig in and make a lot of decisions and decide where I'm going with the character, you know.
Well, you like telling stories, right? The problem with being especially in a horror movie when you're a character that's going to get killed or you're in just like a really short role in the film. Everything's built for efficiency, so the like you convey your information in a small role and that's it. You're done. Whereas if you're the lead or you're the villain, what do you prefer, hero or villain?
Well, that's a good question. The thing is, just like in life, I'm always you're everyone's sort of the hero of their story. So even if I'm playing the villain, I'm seeing everything through their lens. So I don't feel like the villain, you know.
No.
I feel justified in all of this decisions I'm
Every
making.
good villain does. Every good villain does. But here's the thing, right? If you're a quote unquote good guy or a hero or a protagonist, there are usually things you can and can't do. When you're a villain, you can do everything, right? And you're actually leading the action in a story, right? Which is really, really, really cool. The problem is, right? Villains if to make a villain really work, you have to believe that the villain's can do or will do what they say they're going to do. There has to be a certain credibility to the villain. Hero, right, the best heroes usually have to overcome something, usually sometimes within, without, whatever the case may be. Both sides think they're heroes, right? Both sides think they're right. But I find villains when I write villains, they're fun because it's not that they think they're bad, it's that they just don't have the same. For example, you talk about this, ready to murder somebody, right? Bad guy has no problems. Like, wait, I can murder? Yes. Good guy's like, I can't do it. Dang it, I can't just murder for the sake of maybe if it's a zombie or like an evil robot, maybe. But otherwise, usually the protagonist has to actually try to do the right thing. They're more constrained sometimes.
I agree. Yeah, of course you can do things as the villain that you can't do in real life, and that's real fun.
Yeah. So that's what I asked. So which one do you like? If you had to pick one, would you like to be the villain that gets their comeuppance at the end, or do you want to be the hero of the story? Which one's more fun for you?
If I have to pick one right now, I'm going with villain. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So guys, cast her in as undead queen trying to take over the world. She'll totally have right into that.
I'm small, so sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to convince people I can be menacing, but I can be. I assure you. I have played many a villain.
You see, here's the thing. You're an incredibly kind person. I can just tell just looking at you. You're a very, very kind human being. But see, what most people don't realize is really kind people. If you do cross them, there's it's literally the wrath of God descending upon the planet. So that's why. So I mean, that's the thing, right? It's just like you have both extremes. You can be very gentle, but because you're so strong, right? If you went the other way, right? You'd be like, I'm going to run and hide now because I don't know how to deal with this, right?
It shocks people if you get mad, yeah.
Well, how tall are you, if you don't mind my asking?
I'm 5'2".
See, that's it. Like you're like, so you probably carry yourself like you're bigger than you are. You just probably do because you're on screen and you're trying to bring as much presence onto yourself as possible. So you probably are a giant in the room anyway to start with, right? But you're a gentle giant. People are like, oh, she's cool. She's awesome. You ever see you pissed off? You probably like me. You jump out of this chair and hide behind it and hope you just don't. Right? Right? Because, hey, listen, I'm a wise man. Listen, I've learned this a long time ago, right? I am far more scared of a pissed off woman than I am a pissed off man. I'm far more scared. So I know what the man will do. I have no idea what the woman will do. So, instinct, right? That's just instinct. Like,
I think there's some good wisdom there. Yeah.
I want to live a long time. I just want to live a long time. Like I said, I don't fear the inevitable, but I don't want to tempt fate necessarily. If that makes sense. And it's like, no, there's wisdom, no. But that's just it, right? Like kind people can also. I mean, there's usually very big depths to that. Like again, you have a big heart. You talked about this earlier. You want to open up like an animal shelter, essentially, whether it's where you're at now. Like, would you like to ideally have that in a city, or would you have that like in the country? Like, where would you ideally have your dream spot?
I think it'd have to be like a farm, so that they had room.
Yeah. Okay. So
I don't want to keep them in cages or anything like that.
No. So probably you're gonna be on a farm somewhere. And so, I mean, like I said, that's a very gentle approach to just taking. I just want to take care of everything and make a difference the way I want to make it. That's a very gentle approach. So I wouldn't want to fight you for it. I think you probably, like I said, I'd come back like, what happened? I made her mad. Where's your arm? She's got it somewhere. I'm not asking for it back. Right. But that's the thing, right? Like we all have like people that have certain that are kind can have like usually have incredible depths and usually have been through their own obstacles in life. Like you've worked very hard to make your dreams come true, which means you had to fight very hard to get there, right? So that means like kind of tough. Like people may not think it, but you're kind of tough. You have to be. Look where you're at.
You do have to be. Yes, that's very insightful. You are right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, no, it's just again, no one gives you anything. You have to earn it, and like I said, that takes an incredible amount of belief in yourself. And I mean I said that like that's an incredible feat. I'm still working on trying to get that to happen. So my master plan is this is the thing. I have the date in my head. March 21st, 2022, I will be back on the road. I have like a giant van with my whole logo for my podcast. And I'll be driving across the country. I'll be like, "Hey Trista, can I come hang out with you somewhere on a set and can we just talk about stuff at random like we're doing here?" And you'll hopefully say yes. And I will meet you wherever you're comfortable. We'll eat and talk and I'll film it like on a wonderful camera somewhere, and then I'll be done. And then I'll go to the next day where I know another really cool person. I'll be like, yeah, because that's what I want to do. But I also know this too, like just because I want to do it and it's cool, I'm going to have everybody and their mother kind of go to me, well, are you sure this is the right thing? Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to have to fight for it. And that takes, right, because it's like anything else in life. You have to work towards whatever you truly want, worthwhile, you have to struggle towards it. And that it doesn't never really come easy. So the fact is, you're sitting here, you're an actress, you have performed in multiple films, you've been the lead now in a few of those films, right? You've been the hero and the villain, and you keep getting and you keep seem to get more work. So I mean, you must be doing something right. Tough. I mean,
Thank you.
yeah.
But likewise, that's a good idea, I think, for your podcast because there are so many podcasts, but that's a very original, unique idea.
Yeah. See, I'm like I told you earlier, I'm kind of crazy, in the sense of, yeah, something like that, Doris. Absolutely, it's kind of.
Yeah, I like that idea.
No, I'm thinking like constructing like either a Kickstarter or a Patreon where I travel the world. I gotta get a few things built up, and that's kind of the next 6 months is essentially me getting that ready, and then releasing some books and doing some other things too. But like basically just to get that ready so I can go into both countries because again, going back to something I said, I'm openly crazy. I've already kind of made peace with the way life is and however long I may or may not have in this life. So I'm going to go and chase every dream. And who I am, I'm a guy. I love telling stories, but I also love interviewing people about their stories. So can I ask you a wonderful question?
Yes.
Here's the wonderful question. When did you know you were going to succeed? Because there must have been a hard time where it was a real struggle. But I'm not saying it's not a struggle still, because I know it is, because you want more and you're working towards that. But you have come so far from where you started. There had to be a point in your journey where it was like, I'm going to do this. So where was it for you?
I think that's such a hard question because, like you said, it's just a series of constantly trying things and failing and auditioning and going out for stuff. But the whole time that I'm striving, there are successes and failures happening simultaneously, right? So there are auditions that I'm not getting because they need a local person because they need to save money or whatever reason. And then there's jobs that I am getting. So there's always good and bad. There's always positive and negative. There's always ups and downs. And so I think I had to realize like there's not a finish line. I think some people say like, I'm gonna give myself 5 years, and if I'm not in this place, then I'm not doing it anymore. And I've just committed myself to like a life of my own artistry, and whether or not that is really accepted, I'm not doing it really for any other reason besides I really have to. So I think some people, if they don't get enough jobs, or if they have a bad experience, they might want to quit because maybe they're looking for some sort of external validation. I know some people really want to work with celebrities on the highest level, otherwise they think they're a failure. Some people really want to make a certain amount of money. For me, it truly is about doing the work, and that sustains. And no matter how many jobs I don't get, it's just a numbers game. So there are always jobs that I do get, and I just put so much of myself into them because that's what it's about for me. So that's the success for me, which I think is fortunate because I see other people get really burnt out or heartbroken when they're waiting on some sort of external success. Like, I've made it now, and I'm not sure how much that exists.
No, that's an interesting point. So, I think you there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah. Wow. Never play poker with you. Holy crap. Never play poker with you. Jesus. You can just keep yourself in one place. I'd be like, I'm out.
I get my makeup done for long periods of time, so I'm used to just staying.
No, I just say I just like, wait, are you there? Holy crap, you can just not move. Holy shit, I'm okay. Never play poker with you. That might be a comic I may draw one day, because I've started drawing in this time too since we last talked.
You do so many things.
Yeah, I try. Oh, you noticed, so thank you. Thank you. Well, much like you, I look at it like this too. It is kind of a numbers game, right? Because it's one of those things. My problem for me, like something I kind of had to come to terms with, is you have to figure out what your niche is exactly. And that's a big thing. Like, if you try to do a zillion things at once, it won't work, because you're caught at the beginning of everything, and you can't succeed that way. Now, for me, podcast, I'm almost at 600 episodes. Like, I mean, that's yeah. You're 583. I've been doing this for a long time, right? So, and I love it. Obviously, I love it. I wouldn't. I mean, people like you make it worthwhile. They really, really do. Honestly. So, but what it comes down to, you recognize, like, I think for me it was like I had this realization, like the success I have accumulated doing what I've been doing, was never what I imagined it would look like, right? It never was in what I looked like. But when I think about it, it's not that different from the guy doing it, right? Whereas I feel the same way with you. Like you probably, I mean, don't get me, I'm sure when you started, the external validation, there were at least some thoughts of what that would look like initially, right? And then probably as you actually got into it, and you realize, like, it's not going to look like what you imagine it would look like, but it's still you. Like, you put yourself in everything you do, and that's why you work, because you're genuinely you. So you're like, you know what? I'm not going to cheat. I think that's the best lesson I've learned from you, actually, is I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to believe in myself, and whatever I'm given, success or failure, I'm just going to put everything I got into it. I'm going to do it to the best I know how. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. I can at least look in the mirror and say, I did everything I knew how to do. And that's really all you can hope for, right? So that's a lesson someone that can learn from you. But when you look at like your photography in your career, right, it's probably not that different from the person playing the parts, right? The person, what you bring to it, and you're like, yeah, I'm really proud of everything I've done. And you're still, again, you still want more things because that's just natural part of the growth thing. But for you, right, somewhere along the line, you just realize like it's not about the external anymore. It's about what I really want from this, which for you is tell the best story, do the press performance, and put yourself into that role, whatever that might be.
Yeah, I mean the only time I guess I don't know. I think I agree with what you're saying. The only time I remember really being struck by like external adulation, I guess, was when I was in conservatory. I was acting with my whole heart, but I didn't even know if I was any good, and I felt like all the teachers were really hard on me. But then I remember having positive responses to my showcases and being encouraged, and thinking like, oh, and surprised, shocked, honestly. Um, so it's nice to be encouraged.
No, absolutely. Right. I was curious because I mean, I don't see you stopping, and right, I might see it evolve. I could see. Would you ever go behind the camera?
I might be interested in writing. I don't think I would be directing. I don't really like to tell people what to do. I'm not made for that. But I used to write a lot as a kid, and I always kind of thought I'd grow up to be a writer. So I might go back to writing.
I'm trying to grow up to be a writer. It's okay. There we go. I'll get there one little bit at a time. No, that sounds really cool. Like I just feel like you just do something long enough, you just get more skills. I started writing. Never thought I'd do interviews. I ended up doing interviews, and I started doing, never thought I'd draw. Shit, that was like everything just kind of went like 1, 2, 3, just one thing leads to another, leads to another. So I mean, I kind of feel it's like for you, you're going to be, ooh, I know. So when you get your house and you get like where your pets are taken care of, would you have like a stage out there where you perform stuff?
Oh my gosh, for the animals?
Even for people that come in. I think it'd be kind of, no, because why not, right? Look, here's the thing, right? You come out, animals have a home, you take care of them, that's your primary thing. But every once in a while, because I get this feeling, like I said, you're never going to stop not acting. So it's like, you know what, it'd be kind of cool. Put like a play on. Like maybe sometimes animals are your only audience. That's okay, right? But I mean, just the fact is, people will be coming in and in and out of the shelter anyway. It's like, while you're there, why not just have a small, even if it's a tiny little stage?
I do like that idea, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making me even more of a hippie than I am, but I do. I'm gonna have a commune soon.
Listen, in this age, like I said, this life is short on time, but it's long on possibilities, right? Why separate what your loves? If you can find a way to do them together, go for it, right? Right?
Yeah, and I haven't done theater in a while. I'd love to go back to theater, actually. I think that's great.
Theater feels like is where you can really have some fun because you have an audience to feed off of. Okay, right? You can go in there, you can listen to them for a minute or two. It's like, what do they feel like? Are they silly tonight? Do they want to be scared? Do they want something serious, some serious thought? Do they want, just want to let off some steam? What do they want to do? And how can I bring that out of them? Because there's a certain it's a master class in storytelling because the audience now adds to whatever story you're telling, right? So, whereas the theater, like a movie set, you're with people that are working on the same project with you. They're not an audience exactly. They are, but they're not. They have their thing is, how can we make this better? Whereas the audience, they don't care. It's like entertain us. You're like,
Yeah, the stakes are high in theater.
Yeah. So did you start in theater or did you start in television? Like where was your start?
I started in theater and I love theater. Yeah, I think it really separates the men from the boys, so to say. You know, theater actors can go to film and TV, but film and TV can't always go to theater.
No, because again, you're dealing with people, and people will eat you alive if you're not comfortable.
Yeah, they're real honest. It's a very humbling experience. Everyone should do theater.
So, what's your favorite stuff to do in theater? Like in terms of like plays and stuff like that. Like, what's your favorite plays like you've done?
My favorite plays. I did Our Lady of 121st Street. That was probably my favorite play that I've done. What else did I do? I've done a lot of theater, but not for a long time. I played Annelle in Steel Magnolias, which was really fun. A great role. The House of Yes. I played Jackie O in The House of Yes, which is a great play. So yeah, those are some of my favorites. But it's been a while. I'd love to get back to theater.
Like I said, when the world opens up, maybe go into again. Get your commune mileage back into there. Get yourself a couple rounds and then go out there. And then if I do come out to your farm where you got all the animals playing, you have a theater up there, I'll be like, I did that. That'll be like I did that.
You're a podcaster, artist, commune starter.
Yes, that's right. I'll just add to my resume. That's a big deal. Okay, so you're doing 2 movies now. So it's like did you when the pandemic initially hit, did you actually stop working at all during the pandemic, or were you actually able to work through it? Most people had to stop at some point, but I know there were a few that were able to go the whole time working too.
So it depends on the project and if we had to fly or how many people were involved. So I shot maybe a third of this project with this really fun title. It's called Killer Babes and the Frightening Film Fiasco. But I'm very proud of it. It's very tongue-in-cheek. And I don't remember if I was in North Carolina or South Carolina, to be quite honest. I think it was North Carolina. But we only shot a third of it. So that keeps being about to resume, but keeps getting pushed, unfortunately. And then I think we should be able to shoot it soon, actually. But I was able to shoot another little project with Linnea Quigley. Actually, I think it's her directorial debut, which is exciting because she's an actress that I really like in horror. And she actually saves a lot of animals, too. So I shot something with her, which is horror, that should be out sometime soon. But the release got pushed, like they do. Yeah. And then I did, I shot a Western feature called Promise. And that, we only had a couple more days to shoot. So we were able to knock that out right when the pandemic hit. So, and that's streaming everywhere. So we were able to finish that up as well.
Wow, that's really cool. So, Western, did you get to shoot people?
Yes, I
did. Did you shoot people? Yes, I did. Never get on the bad side. First off, never just get on your bad side. You might, yeah. I can't play poker with you. You'll take my money. Now I can't get on you. Yes.
I'm a monster. It's true.
Yeah. Still love you anyway. It's all good. So are you gonna stay more in horror? Like obviously we talked about this whether you love it, or are you looking to probably Westerns are fun, if very rare these days to do. Like I like them because they're almost like an old-fashioned romantic story. Like they're not. They're simpler in some way, and I'm surprised actually more into these independent people aren't filming them because they're in some ways easier to film, right? But it's also almost like a lost art form. Like there hasn't been a really, really like great Western in a very, very long time that wasn't a remake.
Yeah, I think, the horses and locations can be expensive, but I do think there are more and more independent people that are doing westerns. It's sort of like
Yeah.
more frequent right now, which I only noticed when we were doing ours. And there's a whole community behind it. There are a lot of people that are really into westerns.
Yeah, I mean that they are. It's a passionate niche. It is a very passionate one. Doris, Tombstone's an old movie though. Like that's the thing. Like Tombstone is sadly an old movie now. It's not. It's not a recent one. It's a great movie. I'm not saying that. It's yeah. Like it's one of those. It's one of those things. But okay. So Western horror. Is there any genre you haven't done yet that you'd like to try?
Oh, that's a good question. I like comedy. I don't get to do comedy very often. But when I do, it's a nice reprieve because most of the time I'm doing horror. Horror is my big love. It's my bread and butter. It's what I do most of the time. But once in a while, it is nice just to be sort of silly and fun and make people
Well,
laugh.
that's kind of why I was wondering, like, if like initially the pandemic did make you want to do something lighter, because comedy is just the ability to be incredibly silly, right? And silly seems like a great thing right now. Like, we're like, just as a general rule of thumb, I'm silly all the time. Just ask anyone that watches my show. I'm naturally, that's just who I am. But you like you also like you're a sweetheart, but you like getting like those darker impulses out, like by slashing, shooting people in horror stuff, or scaring people, or doing that kind of thing. So is it cathartic for you to do that horror? Like, is it like you get all those other like emotions out, and then you can just be chill? Because I find people that do horror, people that do metal shows, people that just tend to explore that dark side a little bit, tend to be the sweetest people when they're not in those roles.
What's funny is I think that might be true because most of my friends work in horror and they're my friends, so I think they're the best. They're all real great people. Additionally, in my life, I find like I'm not very dramatic. I don't think I'm pretty low key. And I'm always surprised when other people are like super dramatic. So I think I must get it out at work.
You
I
don't
think you must be right.
you don't seem the type to rattle easy. Like you just I could see you being anxious every once in a while, but really worried. I don't see it. Maybe you hold it together better than I'm giving more, but it's just like one of those things where it's just like I look at you, it's like I don't think you panic, right?
Yeah, I don't know that I panic. I don't have like
No.
panic attacks or anything. I think also working this kind of job, it's not like I have any routine, so I think I'm kind of like used to being on the fly. Everything's erratic and you have to work with a lot of personalities and things are always changing. So I think I have to have been accustomed to just like going with the flow.
Yeah. So okay, I'm gonna ask this. This might be the last actual question I ask, and then we'll just chat a little bit before we wrap up. Is so if things go perfectly according to plan, exactly, do you worry then? Because it sounds like to me like that's almost like that is truly the rarity, right? Because there's always a little chaos, but you're used to that little bit of chaos. It's almost like your norm. So if there was none of that chaos, would you be like something's wrong?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if I would because I feel like that maybe. I don't know. wonder if I would manufacture, I wouldn't put it past my subconscious to just like manufacture something.
No, I just kind of get the impressions like you're used to like, oh, well, this is malfunctioning. Okay, cool, we'll work around it. This guy's not feeling well today. Okay, cool, work around it.
Yeah, you have to just make stuff work. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, because again, there is a degree like there like any type of film, right? There's like the best laid plans, and obviously there are contingencies for things. But even with the best laid plans, sometimes it just blows up in your face. It just does. It's just one of those like, kind of deal.
Yeah, so much of filmmaking is problem solving, and a lot of that obviously is not on me because I'm just the actor. But a lot of times I prepare a lot at home, and then I show up on set. And it's always going to be different than what you're thinking, right? So you have to be able to react to whatever your scene partner is giving you, to what the reality of the location is. But I think that's where the magic lies.
Oh,
I
sure.
think things would be real stale if you were just predetermining everything. So that's the beauty of it, I think.
Have you ad-libbed on screen? Have you done some ad-libs here and there?
Yeah, yes, I'm sure I have, but I only only if there's a reason to improv, right? Because you have to be careful as an actor, like you don't want to be a selfish actor. So I'm never going to say something just because I thought of it and it's clever, cute, or I'm going to say it only if they say like, someone gives me like a Trista take and they'll let me do what I want. Or if someone goes down on their line, then I'm trying to help the scene, to propel the scene, right? But I'm never just trying to take attention for fun. So you have to be careful. You have to negotiate that properly.
No, I no, totally. I mean, there's some pretty famous ad-lib scenes. Like one of my personal favorites, like from not too long ago. It's still kind of old now, but not too long ago. Dark Knight, when Joker goes to blow up the hospital and he hits the button and nothing happens, he's like, right? That was literally like his improv. And it's like, oh, there it goes. It blows up now. Okay, good.
But that's out of necessity, right? So
yeah, no, but it was just, but it's such a human touch, right? It was just such a little human touch. I find if it's too perfect, it doesn't feel real, right? It's much better when there's actually a little bit of chaos. Like this is go back to my question with you with chaos, right? There's a little bit of chaos in there. It feels much more organic because there's that sense of anything that can happen, and that's a real part of life, right? You never want the environment to be so controlled that nothing can happen because one, that sucks, and two, right? It doesn't feel real because like.
Well, it's more exciting for an audience to watch something that's unpredictable.
Well, yeah. Well, let's look at this whole conversation, for example, right? I learned you have a hell of a poker face. I did not actually. I never thought that playing poker with you prior to that point, and now I know I'll never play poker with Trista because she'll just take my monies, right? Just color it hot. That should be your comedy. You should write it like the ultimate con. Just this petite woman walks in and cleans everybody out. I mean, it would be fun, right? It would be fun. But that all said, right? That was just something I just noticed. Like, okay, let's go down this organic path because I didn't know, right? And obviously, how prepared we were going into this. I literally gave you like no questions. Like, let's just talk, see where it goes, right? So. Because of the best conversations. I like getting to know you as a person because you, the person, is awesome. So ergo, let's figure out who the person is, and then we'll go from there.
Well, thank you, and likewise, it's a pleasure.
Yeah. So, Miss Trista, I think we have an interview here. What do you think?
I think so. I had so much fun.
Yeah. So. Now, besides the fact that I put your thought I had in the commune like theater in the middle of like wherever you decide to end up, which would be awesome, right? Right. you had some. We talked this a little earlier about some of the films you did during this time. What's out now? What can you talk about? And how can people find you?
So, what's out now? So you can check out Queen of the Dead on YouTube. You can check out Promise or Echoes of Fear or Purgatory Road. Those are on most streaming sites. And I post updates on my work on Twitter and Facebook at Trista Robinson.
You have a website, so twitter.com/Trista Robinson. So go follow her here. She's awesome. She really, really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like I said, I will never play poker with her. Right. You have a good hand. Completely blank stare. It's like that. She's like, and there's a little twinkle in the eye. Like I know I'm a doomed man if I ever get on there with her. That's okay. This is Trista Robinson. She's an amazing actress and human being, and I'm always a pleasure to have her on the show. This is the first time I've actually seen her face to face, right? So next time I do this in person next year, all right? You want to try it? I'll meet you somewhere, and we'll just hang out and chill and chat about whatever we chat about.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. So I'll be doing that. For those watching and listening right now, thank you for watching and listening to the podcast. You can support it on Twitch, twitch.tv/JustJoshingPodcast. I'm on YouTube as well as Joshua Pantellaresco. Hit the like and subscribe button there. I got a cool book announcement in 3 days. In three days. I can't wait. I cannot wait. So I'll let people know. I mean, if you listen to the show, you know. If you haven't, that's okay. You'll find out officially on Tuesday. Until then, guys, stay inspired, keep shining in the dark, and keep making beautiful things. And I'll see you guys Monday. That one's done.